Okay, a little bit of bank, a little bit of up elevator, bit of a wing spray there, I think, Tom.
Yeah, that's looking good.
Opposite rudder
Oh,
when
nice.
you're doing this, ladies and gentlemen. Opposite rudder just to stop that nose from turning in. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a cold Motion RC Europe. Stuart here at Motion RC to bring you another video on a Dynam product. Now, I've touched before on how Dynam are kind of like the Ford to the Mercedes, Freewing being the Mercedes. That said, with a Ford car you get great value for money, and you absolutely get that with the Dynam. Today we're here with the Dynam Waco or Waco. Forgive my pronunciation if it's wrong, I always call it the Waco. Now this is 1200mm span. It's available in both red and yellow. I personally like the yellow, that's why you see it before you here. There is of course also a plug and fly and a ready to fly version. This of course is the plug and fly version. We're here today and it is a bit grim. We always like to try and present to you our models in the best light, as most people do. But we definitely do not have the best light here today. However, what we do have is very typical European winter weather. Probably very similar to lots of America too. Tom, I think you agree this is pretty atypical for the Netherlands at least, isn't it? Yeah,
Unfortunately.
So, visibility is quite low, it's grey, it's cold, but you've got a great popping scheme with this yellow and black on the Waco. It is a scale scheme in terms of the colour. The stickers that come in the box have obviously got a splash of Dynam branding on it. And whilst we're down here, actually, let's get in and talk a little bit more about the model itself. So this is 1270mm span, but as a biplane, you actually get quite a bit more model for your money. It may sound small, but it's actually, with those two wings, it's got a nice presence both on the ground and in the air, and we'll come on to that in a minute. The span in old money is 50 inches, by the way, but 1270mm is what we're concentrating on. It runs on, now this is interesting, and actually in fact even on our website right now we recommend a 2200. From many other vendors, a 2200 4S would be perfect, but our admin packs are actually so lightweight, even at 2200, that I've found, for me, that I require a bigger pack. Now I've got, Tom, can you see this here? I should explain also, ladies and gentlemen, you see this orange thing here? That's our run cam, that's our onboard. Now Tom, if you, maybe I come around the other side.
Here.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Alright, so this is actually an Admiral 2500 milliamp hour. Now with this pack pushed all the way forward, it is a little wider than the 2200, but that means it's a nice tight firm fit. With that pushed all the way forward, I am now getting the perfect balance point, which, for your reference, Tom, can you see this here? So you've got the two struts here. This piece of foam, which by the way, this is where one of the main spars is glued into the wing at the factory. So this is a removable piece of foam, at the factory at least. It's glued in production, and when you receive it, right in the middle of that is where the CG is. And for me to get that balance point, I went with a 2500 4-cell. That said, Tom, let's put that back down. Got a little trick up my sleeve, or in fact, in my pocket. Because when I first flew this, just to get the feel for it, just the other day, I mistakenly flew it, tongue-tied. Help me out here, Tom.
You flew it?
Yeah, the Dutch guy telling the English guy how to speak English.
It's the cold.
Jeez, here it is.
You flew
it.
Yes.
That's a blooper. I flew it on a 3-cell battery. That's what I'm trying to say. I flew it on a 3-cell battery. And to my surprise, I thought it was a little underpowered, but actually it had great scale performance on that. So what we're going to do, we're going to fly it on the recommended 4000 pack, then we're going to drop down some voltage and go to 11.1, which is a 3-cell pack. But with the 3-cell, you can actually go right up to a 3300 3-cell and get the equivalent weight of that 2500 4-cell. What that means is longer flight times, but just enough performance to be just a little more than scale, which if, like me, you really appreciate the scale side of things, great, you're going to be happy with the 3,500 3-cell. However, if you want a little bit more for a little bit more sports and aerobatics, which we'll show you first of all, 4S is definitely a great option. We're going to show you both. Just very quickly then, because it is getting cold and we need to get onto the flying. Tom, I know you're probably getting quite cold there.
No, I'm fine.
So we touched on the specs. Now what I want to talk about briefly are modifications. Again, what you pay is what you get with Dynam. You pay a little less and you get a little less in terms of finesse. So I made a few, not necessarily modifications, but a few what I would call peace of mind improvements. First of all, I'll draw your attention, I think Tom, if you can make that out here. Now the hinges, they are foam hinges throughout the model, but particularly on the elevator and rudder, and in fact I ended up doing it on the ailerons too. I added Admiral hinge tape, which is essentially Blender medical tape, to all of these hinges. They are live foam hinges, but unlike Freewing, which you may be used to seeing more of now, they do not have the plastic ball hinge installed. So these would have cracked and got quite loose relatively quickly. I was much more confident putting the hinge tape on, very quick and easy to do, and very effective. I did that on the rudder and the elevator as well. Other thing to point out, when I did my initial flying, for whatever reason, my particular one, even with the CG at the correct point, it was still climbing on power. So I actually ended up removing the cowl. A little trick for you guys here. If you imagine most of these motors are fitted with X mounts, what I did is put 2 washers under the top of the X mount, which is very easy to do. That gave me, maybe you can just see it there, Tom,
yeah,
just a slight more degree of down thrust. And what happens now when I go full throttle, it doesn't climb crazily, or it doesn't really climb at all. It just climbs naturally as it should. For me, that's what I really like to see in the model, and if you guys are experiencing that same thing, that's a very easy modification for you. That's pretty much all I did on the model itself. The only other thing, it's a biplane. The propeller out the box is balanced, but only to a point. I haven't had time to balance this one yet, and you will hear that up in the air. But to help counter some of the noise, a lot of the noise beyond the actual spats, which are plastic, are these connecting rods between the top and bottom aileron. And what Tom and I have found here, just at the field today, this is just a model we've done at the field, that this push rod was rattling around a bit in the carbon control horn there. So I got a strip of what do we call it, hinge tape, and I wrapped it around that, and that's dampened that nicely, but the tape is flexible enough that it still allows complete movement. So that's a worthwhile modification for sure. Right now I'm going to put this down. We may cut the camera just for a few seconds to warm our hands, and then we're going to get back and first of all do the 4S flight. We've got some on board as well. Yeah, Tom, let's go inside and warm up for a bit, and then we'll see you guys in a minute.
All right,
rolling, rolling.
Rolling on the river.
I need to dance to keep warm. Oh. Okay, so we've warmed up a fraction. I'm still very cold. Got to get used to the winters again. We're ready to go. One final thing I wanted to point out. Now, unfortunately, on the hatch itself, they don't have any tongue system or any kind of mechanism, which is a shame, but you know, not the end of the world. Because we're in a bit of a hurry here, I've just crudely put some hinge tape over it to keep that on, but it will lift up in flight. I found if you don't put something there to secure it. Another good idea would be like, what do you call them, cocktail skews or toothpicks.
Yep. Put
it in there, or maybe you want to mock up something with plywood and dowel for a more permanent solution. It's an easy modification either way. Alright, so surfaces are good. I'm on low rates, as you guys probably know by now, guys and girls, I like mine nice and soft, low rates. This is my low rates on ailerons. Can you see that there, Tom? Maybe you get to the side a bit more.
Yeah.
And this is my high rates. Now, whilst that might not look like much movement on one surface itself, what you've got to keep in mind is that if you've got in total 4 ailerons, so double the amount of surface, so you really don't need that much movement. And even on low rates like that, the roll rate is actually pretty good for a model such as this. That's my rudder. Needs a little bit of rudder on takeoff. There's quite a bit of torque from that propeller on there, so I need to counter that a rotational torque with a bit of rudder. But again, all low rates, and let's get this bird in the air. All right, 3, 2, 1, taking off. I'm holding full up elevator, I'm easing into it, correcting with the rudder, and it pops off. Lovely. Well, in fact, it doesn't pop off, does it, Tommy?
No.
It wanted to fly, which is
it lifts off.
Now, at this point, I haven't gone beyond, what am I at there, half throttle, Tom?
Yep, exactly.
This is on the 4S setup. Now you can hear it rattling a bit like a freight train. What that is the wheels in the spats. You can put some silicone fuel wire, tubing or something in there to help dampen that. And what you can see there is those LEDs. Now if they were blinking, it would kind of look like machine guns on the Waco, but they're not, and they do help in low visibility. That's full power climb out, nice stall turn at the bottom, catching it with the elevator at the bottom there. Alright, I'm going to cruise, do one more pass, Tom, at probably about a third throttle. How's it looking?
Yeah, it's looking good.
Colours sticking out really
Yeah,
well.
the yellow is great.
Those LEDs are helping nicely. A little more drag from the camera there, but that's okay. There we're cruising by. Pussycat. Now, full power climb out. This is on 4S. Pretty much unlimited. More like a super Waco, if a thing it did exist. Certainly not scowl, but a lot of fun. I'm going to roll there, Tom. Did you catch all that?
Yep.
That, ladies and gentlemen, was my low rate roll. That was just banging the stick full to the side, nothing fancy. So I'm going to do a loop now. From level, looping up, easing, that's quite a tight one. Catching the elevator on the bottom, easing off the throttle as I come into the second part. Hey, it looks good. Now it is a bit noisy. That is actually half as noisy as it was, I think, before, Tom, right?
Yep.
Because those aileron connecting rods were really rattling. All you can hear now are the wheels in the spats for sure. So there is a way to modify that. Of course, balance the propeller, and that's going to go a long way to getting rid of the noise. Full power pass. Now you notice there it climbs just a little bit with power. I'm going to add just a little bit of down trim. I think my CG is still a little bit tail heavy. Of course, you could also very easily do a mix. Look at that. It's got a nice presence. It looks good, hey Tom?
Yeah.
I like it. It's fun to open up with. This is on 4S mine. I'm not sure what I did there, but it's fun either way. I'm going to come out of it. Pull up there. Yeah, full power. That's pretty quick. Certainly quick for a Waco. You can bank and yank all you like. However, it does look nice and silky smooth with a little bit of rudder in the turns. Nice low pass there. Now what we're going to do at this point, Tom, should we try, let's show them the stall. I think that's a good idea, right?
Yep.
Pretty benign. Certainly nothing like the B26. You're going to get it up into wind. Tom, how's that for you?
Yeah, it's good.
Now I'm at low power and I'm going to go full up now, and here comes the stall. Pretty much mushes a bit and then it drops a wing. Add on power gradually, let it come out of it naturally, and hey presto, you've got a very benign stall. Tom, should we show a little more of the aerobatics?
Yep, let's do
take
that.
it up. Now on mid-rate, and that is mid-rate roll. A little bit of opposite down elevation in the top half, helps it round. Tom, I'll come this way. There's not much wind, so now Tom and everybody, this is going to be full rate roll. To the left and to the right. Pretty good. Oh, I'm going out of bounds there. Bring it round. And it's a Waco, so you're not really going to want to be doing knife edge passes and flat spins and all that kind of thing. It's just really about mild aerobatics, looking like a classic, which this does. Nice little stall turn there. And being a lot of fun to fly. Now, I've only flown this 3 or 4 times now, but already I can tell it's a keeper. It's got a lot of charm, more than anything else, especially because of the period. It's got a lot of charm. Now let's show you something that you wouldn't normally see here. I'm going to try and show you a touch and go. Now, in itself, that's not so much to talk about, but you've got to remember this model, as the full size, has pants or spats on the wheels. Now, very typically, pants, or spats as I like to call them, and grass do not mix. However, for whatever reason, and I can't quite get to the bottom of it, I just know that it's the case, this Dynam Waco on grass, on damp grass mind, keep in mind, it actually handles really well. It doesn't really want to nose over. Those pants, or spats, sorry, call them what you like, they're not grabbing the grass, which is great. And of course, a Waco without spats is just not really a Waco at all. I'm going to do another touch and go there, because Tom, how do they look on camera?
Yeah, they look great.
Pretty good.
Really
And
smooth.
yeah, well this is the great thing. It's just describing the Dynam Waco, it is smooth. Let's try and do a nice greaser, a touch and go there. Oh, bit of a bounce, but again, no nose over. I'm holding up a bit of up elevator just to keep the nose up, and now I give it a bit more power, and she naturally wants to fly. Sign of a great flying model when it just wants to fly. So I'm going to come right at us and then bang
4 minutes left.
4 minutes left. All right. On my battery or on your camera?
On the camera.
All right. Okay. So we're gonna land quickly, and we will do the 3S flight. So bring it round. Actually, Tom, I'm just gonna do an inverted pass. So I'll bring it round. Now with inverted, we can do sports flying, like I said. Yeah, I like that inverted. A little bit of down pressure. I'm at half throttle now, just a little bit over half. That looks pretty good.
Yeah, nice.
Let's keep it in the inverted configuration. You can really hear those spats rattling now. Now I'm going to roll it round, bring it around for a landing. We've probably got 3.5 minutes left before the camera battery goes. So I've got to think about getting that 3S pack. Let the speed bleed off. Look to flare, reduce power, a little bit of a bounce, pretty good. All right, I'll go out there now, Tom. Viewers, we're going to change the battery and give you just a few minutes on 3S. Okay, it's still cold. We've got a few minutes left on the memory card there. This is the 3S flights, as you saw at the beginning of the shot there. This is the Admiral 3300. I think this is the 35 or 45C. 3 cell, that's 3 cells. It doesn't say on the website that it will fly on 3 cells, but we're about to show you it does. So if you don't have 4 cell packs of this size, but you've got 3 cells, you can definitely still consider the Waco, the Dynam Waco. Now, it's definitely not as vertical as it was on 4S, but it's very, very scale, and I actually prefer it on the 3 cell. Slightly longer flight times because it's a bigger capacity pack. Put the hatch back on there. We're still rolling on the onboard there, and because of the approximate same weight of these 2 packs, it doesn't really change the CG at all. We've probably got 2 minutes left on the memory card now, Tom.
Correct.
All right, okay. So, all right, first of all, let's take off. Taking off. Again on half throttle, but look, if I go full throttle, it doesn't quite have the climb. However, it's far more scale, and it still flies really, really nice. So my personal preference, and I hope you guys are willing to explore this, and it certainly opens up the possibilities for you guys to fly this model on both 3S and 4S. At this kind of speed and with this kind of flying, it really makes no difference. It's really about that brute, pure power at pull out and full throttle. Now that is low rates on 3S.
1 minute.
1 minute. Low rates on 3S, you can see that it is quite a bit slow, but again, very scale. Give you another example. That's full power now on 3S. That's okay. Now I'm going to go high rate roll. Yeah, still very, very fun, very acceptable. And like I said, if you've got a 3 or a 4S pack, here we go. You're going to be fine. Oh. Kind of lost orientation there a bit, viewers. The sky is falling. It's getting a bit dark now, and this fog is a bit too much, and I'm very cold. So I'm going to bring it in for a land. Landing, landing. Easing the power off, flaring, flaring. Actually, you know what, Tom? Let's do another touch and go. Look at that one wheel.
It's nice.
It handles, for a biplane, with this kind of undercarriage, it handles so well on the ground.
20 seconds.
And this is not on concrete. 20 seconds, the cameraman says. So let's see if we can get the final landing, and I'll sign off at the same time. Don't count it, Tom, I'm counting it in my head. So Dynam, Waco, 3 or 4S, available in motionrc.eu and .com. Beautiful aeroplane. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, like if you like, and I'll see you next time. You got it?